Hello, everybody. We're like, hey, guys, be really quiet for a second. And then all of a sudden, Bradley's like, hey, everybody, I'm here.
Sorry.
Oh, that's awesome.
We had to get out of last.
Yeah, of course. I love it. I love it. Well, welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing? We good? We good?
Hello.
We got a little... we're a short one, so if everybody can do us a big favor in chat, tag Pocahontas and tell her to feel better, because she was starting to get the flu and was not feeling good and didn't think that she'd be able to hang out with us tonight, and we miss her lots. So everybody, please tell Pocahontas that we love her and that we want her to feel better.
Yes.
Feel better,
Yes.
Amy.
Do it.
Yay! And yeah, so we're gonna have the baby take Amy's place. He'll be a good replacement.
We're gonna move his little chin and we'll talk.
Yeah. All right, dude. Is he out? We're like, feed him before we get started. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. If you haven't been here before, this is 3-Minute Break, and it's all about, for us, navigating life behind the stream. We are all wives of different streamers on Twitch, or content creators, whatever word you want to use. And we just get constant questions, and all the same questions of, hey, how do you guys handle this? How do you do that? Why do you do this? What's going on here? And we just decided to bring it all to you guys, and we're here once a month. So this is our second episode. If you missed the first one, there is a YouTube that you guys can go and watch it. But yeah, so we're going to just quickly go around, give us quick introductions. We got names on everybody's stuff going on here too, but just in case you don't know who we belong to, we'll let you know. So I'm Mrs. Dr. Lupo. I am married to Dr. Lupo, and we have a 2-year-old little boy named Charlie. We'll just go in the circle. So Sam, go next.
Oh, I don't know where I'm at in the circle.
I know.
It's
different in ours. Okay.
I'll call you out. So Sam, go next.
I'm Sam, wife Thalion, married to Gathalion. We have 2 older girls and then this little guy.
Cool. Steph, go next.
I am Girl on a Hippo, aka Steph, married to the True Vanguard, and I have 2 little ones. I've got, well, he's gonna be 4 in 2 weeks. He keeps asking how close that is, and a 1.5-year-old little girl.
And last but not least,
I'm Kelsey, aka Mrs. Grenadier on Twitch. I'm married to Grenadier Jake, and we have a puppy.
A puppy
who's so freaking cute.
Little puppy.
Is she? I saw your video, Kelsey, of her doing all of her tricks. Was she laying down and stuff like that? I think puppies that like learn stuff, and because she's so tiny, it's even more adorable. But it doesn't seem real that she's doing it.
I know, she's so smart too. I'm like, oh, I'm so proud of you.
Oh yay! You get a gold sticker. So yes, yeah, her with her like little ear up and everything. Oh, it's so good.
It's not like that anymore. Sad.
Did it fall over? Oh,
it's up now.
Oh, both of them are up now.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so cute. Well, our last episode, we did just basic a little introduction about ourselves and our families and how our significant others got into streaming. And we're just going to kind of work our way through all the various types and of relationships and situations that we've gone through. So for this one, episode 2 is titled They Do What? Especially with the holidays that just passed. I'm assuming you guys all had the same thing going on. If you had any new family members or even just family members that were curious during the holidays and like checking in and seeing what's going on. Or Kelsey, I know you guys just moved, so you got to explain what goes on in your home to your new neighbors. And so we're going to basically just be talking about how we explain what our husbands do for a living, how we explain Twitch to people, and how we also basically show them and tell them that this isn't just people sitting in their basement and playing video games. Like, it's a legitimate job, and it actually is more than just going live and playing video games. So does anybody want to start about Bradley wants to go
Bradley
first.
does.
Who wants to go first with maybe just how do you explain to people when you meet new people what Twitch is and what your husband does?
I can go.
Yeah, do it.
You go first.
So I usually start off by asking them if they've ever heard of Twitch. And it seems like more and more people actually have, which is awesome because then I don't have to explain that part of it. I'd say like 2 years ago, there was no one that had ever heard of it. And now like almost half of the people that I talk to have. And if they don't, then I explain that it's this website that has been growing really fast. And basically you can like broadcast from the website. So they're not working for Twitch, but they're partnered with Twitch. And we usually say like online broadcaster instead of streamer because people seem to understand that a little bit better. And then they always have like a million follow-up questions. So it's never a quick conversation.
No, every single time that I have like a new client that comes in, and of course, especially with newborn pictures, I mean, I spend multiple hours with them, and so we're chatting and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, what's your husband do?" And I was like, "Well, he plays video games for a living on a website," and they're like staring at me kind of funky. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. What about Sam or Steph? What about you guys?
Well, I usually just tell them he streams online on a website, and then I say, not that website. Normally I start by saying like he's an internet content creator because he does YouTube and Twitch. And I've even had like when I've told people that he does stuff for YouTube, I had someone I was talking to one time that was like, you can make money off of YouTube? And the best part was my mom one time sends me this article, and it was like right when Ryan was getting into YouTube, and she was like, this guy makes millions of dollars on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, Mom, that's PewDiePie. Like, he's not PewDiePie. But hey, my mom she believes in him. But yeah, it's really sweet. Yeah, so normally I start with like he's an internet content creator, and it kind of just depends. Like I'm usually gauging who the person is based on their demographic. Like, would you know what Twitch is? And then there's been times where it's like, if they know what Twitch is, I'm like, oh, you play Destiny or whatever. Like, do you know who the True Vanguard is? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, see ya. But I try to explain that. I think the best description was when my in-laws were talking about it, and they're like, people just pay to watch him play games. And my mother-in-law she looked at my father-in-law and she's like, you pay to watch people play golf on TV. So I don't really know, and so I try to explain, and similar to that, like watching your favorite athletes, but you get to interact with them. You get to talk to them and be a part of a community. And then that kind of turns a light on, like, oh, well, that makes a lot more sense and makes it a little easier. And we moved back in August. And when Ryan was like meeting new neighbors, he's like, I just hope they don't ask what I do. He's like, I don't want them to be weirded out that I'm the guy who plays video games in my basement.
You have that one neighbor though. You have that one neighbor that keeps track of everybody, and they're going to notice that his car never leaves the house. I'm sure my neighbors are like, does he ever leave? Is he still alive? Because Ben's car rarely ever leaves the house. Because if we go somewhere, it's as a family, and we all fit in my car better. So I mean, he goes to pick up Charlie a couple of days a week from school, but otherwise, his car does not move.
Yeah, it's the same. But yeah, I mean, people you get different receptions. Some people are like, "Well, that's really cool," and others are like, seriously, and you're right, like you said, you kind of hinted at, people don't really understand that there's more to it than just turning on, going live and playing video games. And he gets a lot of that. I'm sure your guys do too, that the idea of you really don't do anything, you know.
Well,
Or
you guys get the comment all the time, like, "Oh, that sounds so easy, like a dream job.
yes,
I want
yeah,
to do
Yeah.
that."
Right?
And
Yes.
yeah,
It's always when with my clients and I'm talking to them and the moms are like, "Oh, that's interesting," but the dads are like, "Man, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start that tomorrow."
Or
And I always look at him and I'm like, no.
can you
It's
teach my
not so
nephew,
easy.
cousin, sister could
yes,
stream
Oh
too?
my
And
God. Yes.
no, but
yes,
we could actually. So as far as neighbors go, we have some people that are like, yeah, we know what Twitch is. We know who he is and all that. Or we'll have like neighborhood kids, actually a couple of kids in the neighborhood that watch him, and then he goes, oh no, they shouldn't be watching. Their parents are gonna hate me. But we have mixed, like we ran into people that actually like know him and watch him and stuff like that, and then other people who have no idea like what I'm even talking about when I try to
Mhm.
explain it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like definitely a variety of responses.
Yeah, totally.
I was at the grocery store once and I had a Dr. Lupo shirt on, and one of the bag boys, I had like a jacket over it, but he noticed it and he's like, "Oh, I've watched Dr. Lupo too. I know who that is. That's really cool. It's Small World and stuff like that." And I
That's
just
awesome.
looked at him and I was like, "Do you know that he has a wife?" He's like, "Well, yeah, it's Mrs. Dr. Lupo." I'm like, "How's it going?" And his like face just went blank. Yeah, and he's
So
like,
embarrassed.
no way. And he called one of his friends over and everything. And I hate going to that grocery store now.
Oh, no.
And I
You're
don't
like,
remember.
I can never come here again.
Right? I don't remember what they looked like. It just they all blurred together because they were all excited. But there was 3 of them. Then they were all like fanboying over Ben. They didn't care about me. They just wanted to
Right.
like know questions like about Ben and stuff. But yeah, it was weird to run into somebody that knew who he was. And I also actually I wore a Ramblin' shirt. And somebody at probably one of the same guys recognized my Ramblin' shirt at a different time. And they're like, "Oh, I know who Ramblin' is." I'm like, "Me too." I know it better than you though.
My dad works at a school, and he kind of does maintenance. So he'll hire some of the students to clean for him. And so every time he finds out one plays video games, he gets real excited and he's like, "Do you play Destiny?" Because that's the only video game he knows, right? And so he'll be like, "Do you play Destiny?" And they're like, "Yeah, we really like, you know who the True Vanguard is?" They're like, "Yeah, we know who that is." He goes, "It's my son-in-law." And then he'll play it totally cool. And they're like, "You're lying.
What?
You're lying." And he's like, "No, that's my son-in-law." Or he'll pull up like his videos on, yeah, it's so cute. He'll pull up his videos on stream or something just to like, because he just wants to casually drop it in conversation, you know. It's
Oh no,
adorable.
I actually my mother-in-law will try to talk about it, but she can never say his name right.
What does she call him?
Yeah, what?
King Goliathan.
His name is Goth the Lion. That's what we call him in our house. Is
Goth-a-lion.
Goth the Lion.
Yeah. And then she's like, yeah, your dad bought one of those King Goliathan shirts.
Oh my God.
And his dad is so proud.
Aw, that's so cute.
Yeah, it's really funny.
That's so awesome. So kind of transitioning, and then what did all of your parents and your in-laws and stuff, what did they think when they found out that their kid or the person that's you're supporting with you, your family, decided to play video games on the internet? Because ultimately that's what everybody, I feel, initially that's all they look at, is that they play video games on the internet. And it always scares people. Well, how did your guys' parents react?
Parents were actually pretty okay with it, and I have a kind of a little story. Like Corey had started, he was working his job at a restaurant and then doing this on the side, and then my we're barely making ends meet, and my grandparents gave him $500 or whatever, like to get his first console. And they actually, so technically they really helped him start up. So they believed in him and they were really sweet about it, actually, which I was surprised, because you think the older generation would be a
Yeah,
lot
for
more
sure.
confused about that.
Yeah.
But everybody was pretty good. A little surprised at first, maybe directly from parents, but they were pretty understanding about it. Like, oh, okay, well, we'll see how this goes.
I'm pretty sure my parents, or at least my mother, thought we were going to be homeless Like,
Yes.
because
Oh my God.
Pretty bad.
Ryan was doing it for like a year before, and she was super supportive, but she literally, I really thought she thought we were just going to end up being homeless or something. She was really worried about us, and I can kind of understand it. I mean, even you guys probably feel this way too. Like it's a brand new industry, a brand new way to make money, and it can be uncertain, you know. But so I think she was just kind of like, well, what if it tanks? I'm like, well, there's a reason that we didn't take that jump until we felt very confident in where we were going. And but I mean, I feel like that's a risk that anyone takes when they start their own business of any kind. You know,
Yeah.
like that's the risk you have to take, and you jump or sink or swim. And so, but I mean, both, yeah. Again, like I said, with my in-laws, it was kind of like, what, people do that? But they're really supportive. I mean, my mom every year for Christmas wants to get like everyone in the family TV stuff. Like, this year she wanted to do all of the ugly Christmas sweaters, and I was like, Mom,
Yes.
like, because Ryan gets embarrassed when people are opening presents and all they get is his shirt. You know, he's like, oh, great, you're welcome.
He's like, I'm really not that like
he
that
thinks
egomaniac.
he's gonna think I'm so vain, you know. So yeah, I think they're super proud now, but and a lot of like extended family are just excited. Like they always want to know more questions about what that's like and what that entails, and everybody's kind of just jealous, I guess. I mean, people who like their jobs, but they're still like, oh, that'd be a cool job to have.
Very much so. I was kind of hoping that my mom was in chat, because that kind of shows you
Aw.
the support that my mom, at least, like, she always stops in at the very beginning of every single one of my streams, and I was hoping
Aw.
to get her to actually answer it herself. But as far as my mom went, like she was on board, and she's like, yeah, let's do this. Show me, tell me, teach me all this stuff. Sign me up for Twitch. I want to hang out and stream. She was on my stream about a month or so ago, and she just thinks it's the coolest thing ever. And that's like the best part about my mom, is her rules are you happy, and are you loved, and are you safe? And whatever you're doing, as long as those three things apply, she doesn't care. And so for her especially, she was just like, that's awesome. Tell me everything. Like when he gets a big donation, tell me. When he does this, like she wants to overly know everything. As far as my dad, he was very skeptical at the beginning. Which kind of surprised me, only because he is an entrepreneur himself, and he's always had his own businesses and stuff. But I think just because it's not, like we talked about, it's such a new industry, it's such a new thing that people do, that you don't know how to perceive it unless you're fully immersed into it. So actually over Christmas, we spent 2 hours. We were up until almost 1 a.m. We pulled up Twitch on my dad's TV, and we were going through, and we were talking about how it works, and we were showing him random people on Twitch. I mean, we took him to this stupid IRL section of Twitch just to show him the variety that's out there. We were like, there's this kind of person, but don't look right now. And then as far as Ben's parents, I mean, I think that at first they were very much kind of like, really, like, is this smart? Is this stable? I think that's the one thing that everybody is always worried about. Is this stable? Is this something that you can maintain? But thankfully all my parents seemed to, especially over time, pick up on it. We really haven't had many people that we know of, at least, against it. So it's always been nice.
So yeah, it's a little bit different, I think, for us than for you guys, because we weren't even living together yet when Jake started streaming. So for my parents, they were still like obviously interested in what he was doing and stuff, but it wasn't like he was like helping to support us at that time. But they definitely were skeptical. My parents are generally pretty cautious and a little bit more conservative. So I think when Jake started doing it, and especially when we like decided to move in together in Colorado, and he decided this was going to be like a full-time thing. I'm sure they had their doubts. They didn't like present them to us. They kept their mouth shut. But I mean, you know your parents. You can tell.
You could tell.
They're sort of like, okay.
Uneasy.
Yeah, right. His parents, I think, were a lot more accepting from the beginning. And now both of our parents are like psyched about it. Every time I talk to my mom on the phone, she's like, how's it going? Like, what game is he playing? I don't even know why she asked, because
like they know what game it is. Right.
Right. Yeah. You could just pick a random word and she'd be like, oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Fortnite, like
he's playing Ostrich Land.
Exactly. That totally sounds like a game. Like, what would Ostrich Land be?
At least she's showing interest, though. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah.
Does okay, so Steph, you mentioned that is it your mom that that has all the t-shirts?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Does any of your other, like, do any of your guys' parents have or wear any of their merch at all?
Jake's mom does.
I need to get my mom a shirt. I bet you she would definitely wear that all the time. Oh, yeah. Husband says, hi, I love you. Hi, husband.
Hello.
Aww.
I'm gonna write hi, husband too. Wait, he's not my husband. Hold on.
Wait, I'm pretty sure that this stream is pulled up on Dr. Lupo's stream. So, hi, Dr. Lupo's stream.
Hello.
So what about, do you guys get like that's not a real job comment from people? How do you come back without being like, yeah, it is?
Yeah,
Just stick your tongue out and walk away.
That's my general response.
Is your job a real job? How do you know?
I try to not get like obviously overly defensive, but I just try to maybe bring to light, how much really goes into behind the scenes. I mean, I don't know about your guys. I'm assuming it's similar, but they work well over what would be a full-time job, sometimes almost like two. And it just so much that goes into it, and time consuming, and always having to be connected and things like that. And it's community managing, it's broadcasting, it's quality, it's everything. So I just, depending on who I'm talking to, obviously will maybe bring some of those things up. But some people are going to think what they're going to think no matter what.
Yeah, I feel like there's always going to be somebody that you can't change their mind, and that's the same with any job or any situation.
Right.
And this is so different.
I don't think I've had anybody like in person say it, more as I've seen comments on like Twitter or YouTube or something. And for the most time, I just let it roll off me. There was one time, I think it's when I had my gallbladder taken out, and Ryan had uploaded a video from streaming or something, and somebody was like bad mouthing him, like, my wife had just had surgery, I'd be taking care of her. And he was like he just let the troll kind of get under his skin. And he was like, well, you don't understand, like, this is my job, and I need to support my family. And I'm like, just do what you have to do. I don't care. I'm supportive of it. And then I just got all pissy at the troll, and I was like, like, it just was bad because I'm like hopped up on painkillers and like a little sleep, and I had a 3-month-old, and I'm like,
so you're like extra high.
I'm like, I think we've all had a couple of those times. We're just like, what?
Yes. Well, and now, like, even with you guys, like with your husbands, if I see somebody saying stuff against them, like a little bit of mama bear comes out in me, like, hey, put it out.
Wait a minute.
I know what these guys go through.
So speaking of like the trolls, my least favorite thing is when any of the guys or any content creator, they show their human side. And like if they're saying, man, I just need to take a break, or I'm just tired, or today was really overwhelming, and people always have that one comment, well, all you do is play video games. Why is it that hard? Like, why are you complaining? Your life is made and all that kind of stuff. And I our rule is I can't feed the trolls no matter how much I want to feed the trolls.
It's so hard sometimes.
I cannot. But so like I type it, you do the whole like type it and then just don't I really try not to hit.
You're better than me because somebody will catch me on a day and I'm just like, nope. Read tweet. Everybody needs to know about this shit.
There was a month ago, wasn't it like about a month ago, Sam, that you totally went off on somebody for something?
I can't
remember what it was, but inside I'm like, yes, go.
Yeah, there's every once in a while where you're like, well, and then for me, I'm like, if this person or if something that they said could bother somebody else or hurt somebody else, then of course I'm going to call them out on it. But it depends. but yeah, I hate that.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's someone just in chat said it's not just the video games that make their days hard. It's literally like the video games is only the physical thing that they're
the
doing.
Backdrop. I call it the backdrop.
Right.
For
that's a perfect way. See, I'm glad we're having this conversation so I can explain it better to other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's literally just the visual part of the backdrop for the stream itself. I mean, you have to also think about alerts and you have to think about all the tech side of everything. And you have to think about what if something's happening on Twitter and you're not watching it because you're streaming. And then you have to think about chat. And then especially if you're playing with somebody else, you have to think about that too. And why do you think I don't stream like any crazy video games? I stream Stardew Valley. Like it's not intense at all, except for when I'm trying to fish. So I don't know how they do it. I don't know how their brains connect it all together. Yes, it is. And then at the same time, us on the other side, and we're like, hey, what are you doing? Like, knock on the door. Do you know where this is? Can you help me with this? I know we all do it.
Corey's actually laughed at me a lot lately because I've been cooped up, kind of. I haven't been doing my normal routine. And he'll walk. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm walking to the bathroom. I'm taking a break.
Every single time Ben comes upstairs, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, I need to get food and go back downstairs. Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
This has not been 3 minutes yet. I still got a minute and a half of your time.
Yeah. Can I please? Yeah. Oh my.
We had somebody ask quickly, how did your husbands get started streaming? It's hard to going from the ground up. We definitely touched base on that in our first episode in depth and in a lot of detail, but just really quickly, they all have different stories. Some people started years ago. Some people started just recently. Like for myself, our family, Ben's only been streaming for 3 years. But the biggest thing is that they had boundaries, they had schedules, they stuck with it, and it's just all about networking. I mean, I think that's the biggest part of it, I would say, at least. If you guys have anything to chime in super quick on that, and then we'll get back to what we're talking about.
Well, that sums it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Just keep going. You have to. This is what Ben's favorite way of explaining how Twitch works is you either need to be really good, you need to be very entertaining, or you need to be very lucky, or at least a combination of two of those ideally. So you can be super good, but if you're not funny, no one's gonna watch you. If you could be super funny, but if you're not playing good, no one's going to watch you. And if you're one of those things and you happen to just run into somebody else and start playing with them and you get that luck and then you get to climb the ladder. Otherwise, it's just consistency, I think, the biggest thing. So
yeah, definitely key.
Yes. So is there anything else that you guys want to talk about as far as explaining what our husbands do, how we could help other people explain it better to their family members? I love the sports analogy. Do you watch sports? This is what gamers watch instead of watching sports. Do you pay for cable? This is what people pay for instead of cable. I mean, we don't have cable. So is there anything else that you guys want to throw in there?
No, I pretty much use the cable thing a lot. Live streaming is huge now. It is. It replaces a lot of people's entertainment. Sometimes I'll talk about comedians. things like that too. Shows. It all goes hand in hand with what you're saying though.
Yeah. I mean, talking about comedians, it's totally like a live show, but it's on your computer instead of in person. So that way hundreds of thousands of people can participate. So,
well, and even like adding to that, I know I touched on with chat, you get to interact with the entertainer, but you also get to interact with a bunch of other people, and you're creating a community. And that is a huge thing too, because I think about, like, I watch a lot of shows, and then when I'm done with the show, I'll like go on Reddit real quick to see what everybody else is saying about the show. Well, you get to do that live, so that's a huge part of it as well.
definitely. So we grabbed usually about the week of or the week before. We always throw out on Twitter if anybody has any questions, and we had a few that we pulled today. And then depending on time, we'll grab some questions from stream. So if you have some questions, hold on to them real quick. Ginger, I see your question, and we'll definitely touch base on dealing with the trolls, because maybe that should just be a whole entire episode on dealing with trolls. So our first question is, how do you answer people once you tell them what the hubbies do as far as retirement and planning for the future? Example, college funds, new cars, vacations, etc. We kind of all of us discussed this afternoon. So I'll quickly throw my spin on it, and then you guys can chime in if you need to. And I actually talked to Ben about this too, just to kind of like confirm that we were on the same page with what's going on. But we treat this like any other job. The only difference is all of that stuff is not being done behind the scenes before you get your paycheck. So if you're at a traditional corporate type job, they're going to pull all your money for your taxes. They're going to pull all your money for your 401k, your IRA, all that kind of stuff, savings, everything. That's the big difference now is with being on Twitch and being an independent creator. All that money goes to you, and it's your responsibility to figure out what's important to you guys. So, for example, for us, we've been working on our retirement funds for the past almost 6 years. As soon as Ben left his corporate job, we switched everything over to independent funds, so that way we could still handle them. Like we didn't. That would have been a deal breaker, I guess, if we stopped doing that. Just because he's doing a fun job doesn't mean we need to forget about our future. So we have all of our retirements. We have our emergency fund set up. Before we do anything fun, we always make sure we have our emergency fund set up. So if just in case, let's say Ben gets super sick and he can't stream for 6 months, we're set for a little bit. And then we're also making sure that we're taking care of our kid. So Charlie has multiple college and savings funds set up and ready for him. But that's the one thing, is that when Ben switched over from it being taken out right away to make it where it becomes our responsibility, we sat down and we're like, how much is coming out? And that can't fault. Like that can't waver. You can't be like, man, I didn't make as much this month, so I'm not going to take this $100 and put it into my savings account. I'm going to skip it, because as soon as you do, you're not going to go back to it. So that's the biggest thing. So if anybody asks, I mean, I'm flat out with it. Tell them. I tell them, yeah, we started when we were 25. We started all of our kind of savings, retirement, all that kind of stuff when we were young. So that way we don't have to keep working until we're in our 70s. We can retire early if we want to. So
my plan is to hope that 50 years from now, there will be a demographic on Twitch that wants to watch a really old senior citizen play video games.
There is. Have you ever been? Is it Grandpa Gaming? There is a guy that is in a retirement center that he plays video games. And his channel is hilarious. I think it's Grandpa Gaming. Somebody in chat will know. But his stream title is always the most fun, or like the greatest retirement home you've ever been in, or something like that. Yeah, Grandpa Gaming. Look up Grandpa Gaming, guys.
Okay, Ryan, paying attention.
Does he have a Twitter?
50 years from now.
I don't know. I doubt he has a Twitter, but he's so hilarious. And he talks like the whole like, kids, get off my lawn. Like he plays it up. He's hilarious, and he's awesome. Super nice.
That's awesome.
So there is a demographic.
There's a future.
Yes.
No, so I work full-time out of the home, and so we have our 401 or our retirement through my business, Oh, he does have a Twitter. That's awesome.
Yep. He was in the Navy.
So we have that through ours, and college. Oh, I don't even want to think about college for my own kids. I'm just trying to focus on paying off my student loans. But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest. Oh my gosh,
Yep.
Don't even get me started. I could cry. It was like,
what happened to Stephanie? We just started talking about student loans.
Like a hot mess over here. I was literally, Ryan and I were just talking before the stream. We were talking about student loans, and I'm like, man, when our kids get old enough, I'm just gonna be like, don't go to college. Like, just don't. And my parents didn't go to college. Neither of them did. I was the first actually of my siblings to graduate from college. So I didn't know.
Kudos.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, oh, student loans, no big deal. And then I look at how much I owe and I just want to cry. But it's not all negative. I wouldn't have met Ryan. So I guess there's some positive.
Some.
We pulled out our student loans to live on, like, because we have enough. So we are screwed with those.
Yes, it's ridiculous. So I'll just hope that want to both get into Twitch, and then you don't need a college degree. So
exactly. Why do you think we're grooming Charlie to play video games?
But we do, the same with us. Like when he started this job, even when he was working and had this job like to supplement, we just saved like crazy, and we still do. We're saving as much as we can, just for emergencies, And then I try to explain when people ask this kind of stuff, like, it would be the same as having a small business. You're right. I mean, you just have to do things a little bit differently. For taxes, we go through an accountant because I don't trust us to do our own. And we pay our taxes quarterly instead of yearly, so that when we go in, for April 15th time, we're not totally, this is like the first year I'm like, I'm not going to be super panicked because we've been paying ahead, like we should be fine. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you said, it's pretty much just like any other job. And that's how you have to treat it. And the good news is I can retire for like 3 months. I just got my statement yesterday. So if I had to retire now,
yay!
For a couple months.
And I think just really quick, because I know there's a ton of young people that are on Twitch and probably in stream and everything as well. Make sure that you're good for 3 to 6 months, please, before you go crazy with your money.
Absolutely.
Like that. I'm just throwing that out there. We're not here to give like money advice. This is not legal advice.
No, that's really the best.
Disclaimer. That was the one thing that my dad taught. There's a fuzzy. Hold on. Okay. That was the one thing that I didn't want it to follow my drink. That my dad taught me right away about money is that that you need to make sure that just in case anything happens, you're not homeless. And the average time of being out of a job is 3 months. It could be up to 6 months, especially depending on the economy. So just throwing that out there for anybody that's young, have an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months. Once that is full, go crazy with the rest of your money with whatever you want to do. But just say that and sit on it and pretend it doesn't exist. And hopefully you'll never have to use it. Back to your regularly scheduled program.
No, you're right. It's such because there was a long time where, we were broke post-college kids, no kids yet, but didn't have much money to our names. And I tell you, the anxiety you feel then versus when you have that emergency fund, even that is like even if a month isn't so great, you have something to fall back on, and you hope you don't have to use it, but it's there.
Well, that's the other thing with Twitch and stuff like that. It's not always consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wish we were better. I wish we were better about the retirement and saving and all that. This is our year of saving after many years of playing catch up, pretty much, like since he started. So now I feel like we're finally at a point where we're like, okay, start setting it aside. So we're just getting started. But we went through all of that, like post college. Corey didn't go to college. I did. But like the poorest phase that we've ever experienced. We did that all with the girls. So I just feel like we're finally can come up for air and we're like, okay, catch up now. Enjoy now.
Yeah. Definitely make sure that you can live day to day before you do that kind of stuff. Yeah. Obviously.
We definitely went through like the Dave Ramsey financial
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
And we didn't keep up with all of it, but one of the things we did was, before we could even afford an emergency fund, the first thing you did is $1,000 in your emergency fund, and at least have that until you can save up for the 3 to 6 months, but just something just in case your car breaks down and you need to put $500, there's something there, and even just that small amount. So I can't steal that advice. I do have to say that was Dave Ramsey, but it is good advice.
Somebody's
I
like,
didn't want
now
I don't want to get sued, okay? Like, you stole my idea.
No.
Yeah, now Goth can get his slide now that you guys are get the actual slide.
I think he can have it. Well, not in the house. Oh my God. That's what he wants.
Oh God.
He
I
can
could
have a
imagine
water
him wanting
slide.
to like build a slide next to your staircase or something like that. So that way you
No,
can
he
just
wants
like
to build. No, listen, he wants to build from his upstairs closet to the front door or front living room a slide, so he doesn't have to
Wait.
walk all the way around. No, he wants to.
Oh my
bust
gosh.
through
From
our
his
house.
closet?
Because his closet is right over like where the living room would be downstairs, I think.
Ah.
So he's like, I could totally do it. We could just get construction guys out here.
Oh my God.
Tell him when we
He
come for
would.
good, we'll help build it.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh! All this.
Oh gosh.
All the streamers and wives are coming to build a slide.
That should be a reality show. At least
week.
yeah, at least get him like a fireman pole that he can just slide down. That's cheaper. Like middle ground,
That's
get him a
like
fireman pole.
I still feel like he would get terribly hurt. You don't know.
Right?
Man makes me nervous walking down the stairs with a baby. Like
when I was there, you're like, be careful, look down.
It's also a bonus for pole dancing, which I hear is a great workout. So
oh, okay. Yeah.
See, benefits for everybody. And we'll get like, okay, so I just went climbing and they have 16-inch pads,
or you could
and we'll
learn.
get
I mean, come on.
we'll get a big 16-inch pad to put at the base, so that way when you fall, you just land.
Watch that on Twitch, Corey learning pole dance.
See,
Is that against terms of
That would
service?
do
I don't
well.
really know.
as long as he's not overtly sexual and naked, then you can do it.
As
I
long as
think.
he's
I feel
wearing
like
his little
guys-
Hawaiian shirt, he's.
Yeah, I feel like
Exactly.
guys could get away with that kind of stuff.
I mean, if there's
totally.
girls that could do the whole just dance and make that overly sexual, then I'm sure we could find the line and tow it if we really want to.
I feel like he
We
needs
could.
to dance to, like, what's that song about swinging from the chandelier? Like, I
Oh,
have that
yeah.
visual in my
Oh,
head
the
right now.
Sia song.
He
Yeah.
needs to be true to himself and listen to like his Hawaiian. He like sits out in the hot tub with Hawaiian music on. Like it sounds like Disney.
Oh
Sounds
God.
like Disney out there.
I can imagine, like, the Hawaiian somewhere over the rainbow, and he's just like
Yeah.
on the back of the hot
Yes.
tub with a beer.
You know, you're really not like you're not far off because that's pretty much what I hear. Or it's like if you like pina coladas, like in songs like that playing out there.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
Margaritaville songs.
that's great.
Awesome.
So let's move on to our next question. Did you ever have to deal with fanboys or fangirls of your spouses? If so, how do you respond? So whether it's guys or girls that just want to be friends, or more than friends, or if they just want to get their attention, if they want to play games with them all the time. How do you guys feel or handle when you hear about like so and so has been messaging me every single day this week to play games?
I'm mostly worried about your husbands, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I've never
What?
been like that.
They love
concerned
each
about
other.
that.
Yeah, no
Romance
kidding.
is strong.
Like I guess we don't really. I mean, we don't really talk about like stuff like that. Like people who ask to play games or whatever. There's maybe a couple of situations earlier on that it wasn't him, but it was like, like maybe a girl like teetering that line of I don't know, I don't really like, and I don't generally worry about stuff like that. But there's a couple times I had to address a couple people who are just a little too forward without being like blunt, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
otherwise, I think everything's pretty good. I think it's a lot of people that just want to be like good friends and things like that.
And it's probably hard for some people to realize that disconnect, that because I mean they
Yeah.
spend every single day with the guys and anybody on Twitch. Like they literally can spend a whole 16 hours that they're awake with people online, and we talked about earlier about having a community and stuff. And so Some people, I think, don't realize that there is a wall eventually that you can't just be like randomly sending them messages to play games with them every single day. And I get messages. I got a message on my Instagram. Ben doesn't even have Instagram. That was like, hey, can you tell Ben that I really like him?
I've gotten those, and I've even had a couple people who maybe I went to high school with who know who Corey is, and they'll message me a lot about him. And I'm like, I don't know the answer to this.
Right? Yeah.
Or just ask him.
Or I'll have someone that will be like I talk to them and they're like, now you need to hook me up with a game with Lupo. And I was like, I don't need to do jack squat for you. Yeah, exactly. I don't owe you anything.
I just usually laugh it off. I'm like, haha, yeah, I'm not in control of that.
This is awkward.
There are times where I like some people I just want to respond with, I'm not his secretary, so
yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if it's like a close friend or a mod who's like, hey, have him check his text or something like that. But if it's somebody I don't know and I'm just like, or I hop into his chat and I get a whisper from somebody and they're like, hey, can you tell him to do this? I'm like, who are these people? Like
if he listened to half of what I told him to do, then sure, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I'll get right on that.
So yeah, I guess the biggest thing that I deal with is just people just need to recognize that when he's not on stream, he's Ben. He's not Dr. Lupo. So like that's not the time to try to get a hold of him, or even while he's streaming. Like he barely even responds to me while he's streaming because he's working. Yeah. and yeah, sometimes there's girls that try to toe over that line. And it sucks because, I mean, it sucks to not feel like they respect your position, like that you don't matter. And so, but most of the time I'm just like, because Ben will tell me, he'll be like, someone said this in chat and just kind of ignored it. And so usually, or if I notice,
he just seems like he would be so nice about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And usually what I'll do is if he mentions that, or if I notice that like they're tagging him all the time, I start tagging them so that way like I can constantly remind them that I'm sitting right here.
Yeah. Okay. You might laugh. You might laugh at me. I've even called out girls. I've called out girls for using winky faces inappropriate. I was like, you guys need to learn how to use your damn emojis.
You don't need to be sending kissy faces at my husband.
I think that was earlier on too, but it's just funny.
That's awesome.
Oh,
I just think that I'm just hoping that eventually everybody will remember that we exist. If there's ever anybody that's like that, and that's all I want to know.
Like about all of our husbands act super married. Like they're really open about it. So I don't worry
Anyone
about
that doesn't know, I feel like is living on another planet.
No.
or like they just
that's
the best is when.
But that's good. Maybe some people like that. I don't know.
Well, that's what I think, because like he doesn't get a lot of girls that, or at least he doesn't tell me, but the ones that do, I'm like, he's obviously married. Maybe that's a turn on. Like you just like you want something you can't have, I guess. But yeah,
I don't feel like it happens a lot.
In chat, he just said most of the people who hit on me are dudes.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I really all of your husbands worry me.
More that triangle, that love triangle.
Oh man,
right now.
I think any girl that's trying to get in any of our guys' pants needs to just remember that they would rather be in each other's pants than anybody else's. I come in into some of the best conversations, and all I have to do is just make one like emote in chat, and everyone's like, "Oh, life is here," and here's Ben talking like, "Oh, okay, I have to put this out here," but Ben and Goth's thing about foreskins, they're like, have you not heard it? It's so horrible. I hate it so much.
No, I haven't heard this part.
Oh man, they have this joke that I don't know exactly.
I know you hate it. Now
yeah. It's so bad. Every single time I come into chat and I'm like, God, man. And one time my dad was watching and he was showing his friends what Ben does.
No.
And he was having, like, he was playing with Ninja. And of course, they're having these conversations. And my dad sends me a text and he's like, we're watching Ben right now. And I pull up stream and I was like, you are. Mute it. Go. Mute it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Goodness gracious.
Meanwhile, I see all these things in chat where the word foreskin is, and Automod's asking if we
Yay,
want to allow them.
Automod. Yeah, sorry, mods. I am Automod. I'm a baby stream here.
I'll allow it.
Oh yeah, locally sourced. Yep. So we have a tiny bit of time for maybe just one question, and I know Ginger Dracula, you had a question that I think is something that that potentially works and deals with us as well. Mentioned something about how do you deal with the trolls that come in and say negative things about you, because I mean I've had people come into my stream and tell me that I'm ugly or I'm a bitch, or even worse than that, I've had people go into Ben's stream not even seeing or knowing me, saying horrible things about me. And I'm sure that, I mean, I know our husbands, they get trolls all the time that come in and just nitpick at how they look or the words that they say or anything like that. How do you guys deal with that, or how do you help your significant other? Because it's very tolling, super tolling to be told the whole entire day long that you have a bump on your face or something. Like, I don't know.
Well,
but
depends how much you've had to drink, how you respond to that.
Right.
I watched back, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I watched back one of the Mario videos where we drink a lot. And somebody said something about my boobs, and I go, oh, you wouldn't say this if I had itty bitty titties and this and that. And I was so drunk. I was like slurring my words and just, But so anyway, like a few drinks, then you might get a different response out of me. But usually I try to just, yeah. Oh yeah, that happened.
That's awesome.
But I try to just kind of, if I, maybe spout out something and then let it go, or just don't say anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just last week, I handed him the baby, and somebody's like, "Your wife has man hands." And I mean, they will pick out anything they can. They're just
what is that?
Yeah, like you can wear the wrong color shirt, and they're like, "That shirt makes you look fat," and you're like,
Thanks.
"Okay."
Thanks. Well, so the biggest response actually, and Corey does this too, is, "Hey, would you say that to somebody in real life?" And it'll play out the scenario, and then it becomes like a laugh, but you still called the person out or whatever. So that's pretty much how we handle it most of the time. Unless drunk, then you're getting it.
Then there's no rules after that.
Right.
But,
man hands, all the better to cradle that precious baby.
I was just like, wow, what? Because it was just my hands. Like I didn't go on camera. I was like, wow,
They're so strange.
it really doesn't matter what you do, guys. Like,
No, you're always gonna get those people. And yeah, some days it really sucks, and Ben will come upstairs and he's like, man, chat was just a jerk today. And it's usually just randoms. So like if there's an influx in people that are coming in, but you have to remember that those people that are throwing those insults are probably having a really shitty life right now. Like nobody that's happy goes and says stuff like that. And so maybe if you can find a way to find compassion for those people. Oh my God.
What just happened? It scared me.
What the heck?
Oh my God.
Oh boy. Oh,
That scared
boy.
the shit out of me.
Oh my God.
That was amazing. I hope somebody clips that.
Yo, seriously.
Corey, we were having a moment.
He's so proud too.
God damn it.
baby now.
Evil.
Oh my gosh. I thought like you saw like some I thought you were going to drop him.
I know. I was like, what's happening?
He didn't even
Then
wake
he
up.
kisses it.
It's a good thing you have man hands, Sam.
Yeah.
Man hands is a positive thing right now.
I cannot believe he did
I have a
that
lot
to me.
going on, and
Here.
I'm crying. That scared me so bad.
I have to get his glasses. Hold on, guys. God.
do that.
Oh.
I'm awake.
Yeah, okay, so in chat, Unwound Admin said, talk about trolls, the ultimate troll right there. So,
Yeah.
wife Valiant, how do you deal with trolls?
Deal with trolls.
Bradley's so used to it,
Like, he
he's
didn't
just
even
passed
wake up.
out. Like, he does
Wow.
not care.
That's amazing.
He's used to all of this bullshit.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry if I scared you guys.
That's
I barely in the corner of my eye, I see this huge mask.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Well, anyway, I think we kind of covered for Ginger, for your question, is just remember that they are probably having a really shitty life, and those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. So Dr. Seuss said that, and that is my favorite quote is that. So
Did you post
also
we posted that a while ago, because I posted, I was like, the internet always minds.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you know what? You just have to remember that they're probably all 12-year-old kids that have no life right now. Like,
to kind of pop off that subject, is we've actually received like legitimate threats and had to get
Same.
police involved. And every time we've had to get
Wow.
police involvement, it's been a teenager, like 12, 13 years old. So it's usually someone like that. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
sad.
and then
Unfortunate.
I guess if you're the one that's streaming and they're coming at you, and you need to take a break, turn your face cam off, that's fine. Take a couple days off from streaming, that's fine. Don't let the puppy. Don't let that stuff get to you, because I bet you that you're way more beautiful of a person than they are. So that's all. But there's a puppy.
She's like, what's going on, Mom?
We need all of the puppy emotes in chat. Just puppy emotes. That's all I want. Doesn't matter what
Hey,
puppy.
if
Just
we're
I want
doing
puppy
cute
emotes.
things, I'm gonna go wake up my daughter down here.
Oh, there's Jake's nose.
Baby. I think she was asleep.
Oh, she's so snuggly.
Scares the absolute shit out of me. Yours brings you a puppy.
Finally fell asleep and you bring her in.
Sorry.
Oh, all the
is so
puppies. Oh, now we have some Bowsers, we have some Icos, and we have some Avas in there. TV needs to get one of your puppy.
He does. That's a good idea.
All the pups.
He's all black though. Like, he has black eyes, black nose, black ears. So it's kind of hard to do.
So a black square, and he's
Just
moving
a
real
black
fast.
square. Yeah, that's hard. Like, it's so
That
hard to
works.
get pictures. I have to turn the flash on because, like, otherwise,
Yeah.
Especially since our couch is super dark and that's where he sleeps. I'm like, oh, it's a cute picture. You
It just
can't
all
see
blends
him,
it.
so-
Aw.
Oh gosh.
I
Well,
love that.
is there anything else that you guys want to say regarding our topic of discussion today, or any of our questions, or anything at all?
I'm thinking.
Just everyone be nice and kind.
Yeah.
Yes, love each other. Be nice.
Be kind to one another, as
Be happy.
Ellen
Bill and
says.
Ted said,
Yes.
excellent
Yeah.
to one another. I believe Dr. Seuss was also known for saying snitches get stitches. So
Yeah.
Yes.
something to think about.
We're gonna end
Real
it
quick,
with-
Glenna Siddick, I see Glenna Siddick posting a couple times just our thoughts on the Dr. D stuff. I personally am not comfortable talking about that kind of stuff. I don't really want to bring any more light than that onto it. As far as the stuff that he posted on Twitter and everything, cool for him. I hope that
I
something
don't think
works
it
out.
deserves the attention.
Nope, I don't think it deserves
seems
it.
Like that's what it was for. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep. So that's it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Once again, be happy, be nice to each other, positive feelings, all that kind of stuff. Let's go around real quick and just say where we can find you guys on Twitter or on Twitch if you do stream. So we'll go in my circle. So Sam, you can go first.
All right. On Twitter, I'm Wife Thalion, and that is it. Otherwise, I'm Wife Thalion in Twitch chats.
Okay, Steph.
Same as here. I'm Girl on a Hippo on Twitter and also on Twitch, but I'm not on there a lot unless I'm like
And you
peeping
can follow Bowser and Bowser.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Bowser.
Oh gosh. Oh, Ava's all passed out now. Okay.
Aw.
Kelsey, go ahead.
Take a wake nap.
Corey in the background.
I am it's hard for me to remember. So technically my tag on Twitter is @Kelso3191, but my name is Mrs. Grenader, and on Twitch
I think
I'm
if
Mrs.
you search
Grenader.
for Mrs. Grenader,
Yeah,
it'll
Yeah,
start.
you find you.
Okay. So
You
then
should
just
change your
Mrs. Grenader.
Twitter handle then.
Can I do that?
Yeah, you should
Yeah,
be
I
able to
think
change
so.
it.
You can.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try
We'll
to
look
do
it up for you.
that.
And then for myself, I'm Mrs. Dr. Lupo on Twitter. And
What are you doing?
I'm about ready
my
to turn your
God.
camera off, Sam. And then,
He is my biggest child.
oh my
I
gosh.
was gonna say, how many kids do you have?
Right? Yeah, so I'm Mrs. Dr. Lupo on Twitter and Twitch, obviously, because you're here on my channel. And then don't forget that we have Pocahontas Amy. And she is she Pocahontas? No. What is she on Twitter? Hold on.
Twitter, Amy Bowman.
Yes.
Amy for
And
Bowman.
then-
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then on Twitch, she is Pocahontas. So if you see us around, please say hi to us. We'd love to
Don't
talk to you
tell
guys
us
a little
about
bit
our
more.
man hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no man hands.
Our man. Our babies and puppies.
But please say hi. Please say hi.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
anywhere you guys see us around on Twitter or on Twitch, please say hi. If you guys, I know majority of us are going to GuardianCon this summer, so if you guys are there, please come up and say hi too. And we will be back next month. So once again, we're wanting to do this once a month. We don't have a date yet. We'll let you know, but it'll be sometime in the month of February. And we'll see you guys then. If you guys didn't get to see the whole entire thing, I'm going to throw it up on YouTube tonight. It'll be in my VODs for about a week or so. And yeah.
Awesome.
We good?
Yeah. Thanks
All right.
everybody for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.